show. It's worthy.
That's right. This show's worthy.
We're
We're
live.
live. It's Tuesday evening. Hope everything sounds okay here in the spare bedroom studio. Coming to you live from the Sea Pound, beautiful Kalispell, Montana. You know what I learned today? Well, we'll talk about this on the show. But remind me to tell you what I learned today. It has to do with the snowboard mountain here and Instagram. So, all right. Let's record this because it might be good. I don't know.
What is Sea Pound? I don't understand how that works.
The compound.
Oh, okay.
It's like the dog pound with less dogs.
I see. Less D in the Sea Pound. Perhaps. I don't know.
Check. Okay, and you? We need to do this live, so.
Yeah, check. Check 1, 2. We are live. Attack of the Androids. I need water. Drink some water.
There we go. Okay, and Nick?
Check.
Awesome. All right.
That's as good as I get.
I like it. All right. Let's podcast then, gents. Yeah, what's up, everybody? It's Tuesday, January 27th, 2015. This is episode 145 of Attack of the Androids. Every week, Tuesday evening, attackoftheandroids.com/live. Check it out. I'm Matt Lee. That's Eric Finken, bro. What's up, Eric?
What's going on, Matt?
Good to have you back here. Also, Nick Carroll joining us. What's up, Nick?
Glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. Let's see. Oh, you got your shield back. You want to start out? We'll talk about that for a moment. Very excited for you. I wish I had a shield. I almost bought one the other day, but then I was like, I don't have a job, so I should probably squander a little money.
Yeah, you made a good decision. I'm very proud of you.
Right? I'm like,
all of our listeners should be proud of you too.
Yeah. You all should. And then you should send me money so that I can buy one.
That's very sad that you turn this into panhandling, Matthew.
You have to.
This is about the NVIDIA Shield. This is about pure things. So the NVIDIA Shield, I had some weird problem with it, and like lines started appearing on the screen. So I got to see what the real life experience of using the warranty is like, which I have to say was actually pretty good. A few emails back and forth. And I was talking with Shane Brady, he bought an NVIDIA Shield and sent it back, and he had me a little worried because he said, I think it was him that said, a lot of times when you do these warranties, they're sending you like ones that they've already repaired, like refurbed models, but no, they sent me brand new in the box.
Brand spanking new stuff? No way.
That's right. It still smelled like the showroom floor.
What?
And that is to say, well, I don't know. It smelled like something, but it's all good. I'm very happy to have it, and I just sent my old one back. So I've been really, really missing having my little tablet in my life. So now I can get back to gaming and all that good stuff.
Didn't you have a Nexus 7 before that?
Yep, I did, and I sold that to a friend.
Did you give him a deal, or did you rip them off?
No, I gave him a deal.
Of course you did. You're a good guy.
Yeah, I've still got a Nexus 7. I've been interested in getting the Shield myself, but it's a little bit bigger of a tablet, so I was wondering how that impacted your use. Does it make you less wanting to use it or more likely to use it?
More likely to use it. I mean, it's it's a good tablet. I think that the extra size works well with the fact that it's, that you can do a lot of gaming on it. Yeah. And, if there's anybody out there listening that's curious, I think a few episodes ago I went into, more in depth as to my thoughts about it. But the TLDR version of it is that I think it's a good tablet. I like it, and except for maybe one of the tablets we might be talking about today, I think it's the best Android tablet you can get on the market, regardless of what Shane Brady says.
Wow. Just drawing lines in the sand. Shane, ball's in your court, dude. Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Come on, come at me.
Before we get into the news, I learned something today. And certain websites will do this. I noticed that our ski Whitefish Resort app. We've mentioned this before. It's like this.
Are you going to harass this poor developer?
No. Well, maybe.
Okay. Maybe.
This is cool.
Just a little bit.
I haven't fully tested it out like all the way, but anything that you hashtag in Instagram with ski whitefish in it will automatically go into this section of their app that shows you Instagram pictures, not curated at all. So hypothetically, you could take a picture of something, perhaps a body part, perhaps, I don't know, and you could hashtag it, right? Ski whitefish. And it will show up in there in betwixt all of the images of people actually hashtag ski whitefishing. But yeah,
okay.
I learned that today, which as a web developer, I think that's a lesson learned. Once you start getting big old D's showing up in the feed there, maybe you'll curate that a little bit and lock it down. But I think it is kind of cool because we were like posting pictures to it. It's all right.
I guess that'd be the D Whitefish Resort.
Yes, the Big Mountain D Whitefish Resort.
Yeah, this is a lesson that I really hope that developer started listening, because he or she now
they
has
should
a
come on the
heads up.
show and show us Instagram pictures.
Yep, come on the show so they can point out to the police who's been posting Ds.
Whose D is this? Is it
This
yours?
guy over here.
This guy.
Not,
Wait, no, this
not
guy.
Nick Carroll, the other one. I can't. Nick, I need your help. I need you to point over.
I did it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
Hold
that's
on.
very sad.
All right, let's start out. I saw this a little bit here and there. Google trying to start up a little NVMe called Nova, not to be confused with Nova Launcher or the other thing that has Nova in its name. But yeah, I don't know. I wish we had more NVNOs. Doesn't even have to be Google. Just wish we had some more here. But yeah, kind of cool. Well, affordable wireless service from Google.
Yeah, one of the interesting things to me, at least, is that they're going to try to pull from both Sprint and T-Mobile's networks, which in and of themselves aren't necessarily that good with coverage. I mean, it's kind of hit and miss depending upon where you're at.
Could they get better coverage if Google was like, here's a couple million? What would you need? Hundreds of millions? How many figures? A billion? Here's a billion.
They're obviously going to pay them, to use their network. But I think at least because they'll have both networks at their disposal, and knowing Google, they've done a lot of research over the years with regard to wireless. I'm pretty sure they can figure out how to have better coverage maybe than just T-Mobile or Sprint, by themselves. So maybe this can be a pretty decent MVNOs as far as coverage, but I wonder how the phones have to be built for that, because not all phones are built for all the bands on both networks. So.
You mean, is it going to have to be an Android phone, or will they let iOS phones on there also?
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Have a Google MVNO where you buy iPhone on contract.
That's cool. Eric, any thoughts?
Well, reading some of these articles, and obviously, there hasn't been any announcement from Google, so we don't know yet. But like Nick said, they're talking about using both T-Mobile and Sprint networks. But they're also, some of the later reports are saying that they'll also use Wi-Fi hotspots. So this sounds, very familiar. We've talked about Republic Wireless. I know. Everybody's going to be getting their drinking on tonight when we talk about
Republic that is wireless. I like it. They should come up here.
So they're talking about the ability to, to do handoffs. And if you think about the Republic Wireless model, they're using these. I believe it's like customized hardware in some of these phones. That's why there's only a few available. But if Google could make this work with just the regular phones you buy, if they're doing all the handoff and all the magic in software, I think that would be really great. And I would probably use them when I go back to the States because I only use MVNOs because I don't want to get locked into a contract.
Yeah,
Which then would make the Nexus devices mean a little more if you could have an actual Google carrier, or even if Google does this a couple times as like, here's how to do it. Now who else wants in? And then let's other MVNOs be its MVNO, like a MVNO. Oh.
Yeah,
right.
I wonder how updates would work, because even though Google, you have to go through the manufacturers and through the service provider, but in this case, the cell phone service provider is Google, so at least that'd be one less hold up to getting your updates. So.
Well, Nick, it sure couldn't be any worse.
Yeah. And I wonder what their policy would be as far as unlocked devices as well. Would all their devices be unlocked by default, or would they offer, the ability to unlock that? So.
Well, we know that Google likes to experiment, so maybe part of this is to experiment and get a better understanding of what the actual problems are at the carrier level, or at least be able to show them, like, listen, we can do this. Why can't you do this?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be something to watch. I don't know necessarily, like you said, Nick. There's not, or Matt. There's not like great coverage in some areas. Granted, you live out in the mountains, so.
Sure.
Maybe that's not a good example.
Up on the mountain, that you do get way better, like not full signal, but you get like half bars up on top of the mountain than when you're in the parking lot, which is still on top of the mountain, but not on top of the mountain.
Not as tall.
You're probably standing next to the tower at that point.
On top of, yeah.
They put it next to the highest thing.
A line of sight. Oh, really? Like the summit? Okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And think of it this way: let's say you're the Google MVNO and you have a Samsung phone. Is this going to have TouchWiz on it? If it does, how the updates?
Tizen.
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 I wonder how the update process is going to work out.
This is how it ties in. We're going to make Tizen. Just bear with us. Have you guys seen
Go for it.
No, I was going to move us on, but please.
I was going to say, a lot of MVNOs, you buy these little inexpensive phones, and you're lucky if you get any sort of update whatsoever, before they end the life of the phone. So I wonder how that would work out here as well. This could be a chance for Google to improve, things over
It'd be
the
like
MVNO.
MVNO. How about MVN? Yes.
Yep.
Google. Yeah. All right, now we can move on.
Okay,
did you see the Yoda Phone 2 review Android Central posted? This is the cool little we saw this a little bit at CES, and it's getting way better. Like, the first gen was a very cool idea, but not very well executed. Obviously, we've gotten the technology further along, not us, but we as a society.
We as a whole.
The proverbial.
Totally take credit for it.
Yeah. Well, we should all take credit for it. Pats on the backs, all of us. Except you, Russia. No, I'm kidding. You too. I watched the interview last night. Holy crap. But please, Yoda Phone 2. Not anywhere we can get it, sure. But
interestingly enough, it's made by a Russian, company. So it'd be interesting to see if we ever see this in the States. The first one never made its way here. I think it was used in a large carrier out there in the former Soviet Union, but I don't know if we'll ever see the Yoda Phone 2. Although I think some places, some of these review sites are getting a copy to actually review. So.
Yeah, they're getting them from the UK, and there's been talk. There hasn't been a specific announcement of having a version for the US. Like you said, with all the political stuff going on, who knows, what's going to happen with this. But it looks like a great phone. The specs are so-so, but it's good. Like, it has nice processor, 32 gigs of internal storage. It has LTE. It has AC Wi-Fi. These are good specs. One thing I would like to see, and maybe this is going to be like the third generation if they do it, I'd love to see them do this with a tablet. Because I know that, specifically, like, my wife has been asking for, like, the moment I showed her this, she said, why won't they make this in a tablet? Because she wants to get rid of her Kindle. She loves her Kindle, but she wants to have as few devices as possible, and it just makes sense to me that you would have maybe something the size of a Nexus 7 that you can read books on.
Yeah, the great thing about having a tablet is obviously it's a larger display, but with the e-ink plus a larger battery, this thing will last well longer than a week. Already the phone itself is supposed to last 5 to 7 days if you just use the e-ink display, and that it's a touchscreen as well. That you could basically go on a long trip. You don't have the ability to charge it. Well, you can basically have the ultimate endurance mode just by using this display. So.
Yeah,
I
it
feel
looks
like you need like some. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just gonna say I was looking at the screenshots and the thing called AotA Energy. Like it gives you real granular, modular control over what you want to be shown in what screen or whatever. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think Chris Chavez of Fandroid, I think he has one of these, and he's been using it a little bit. The only problem he's experienced, for what I remember him talking about, was that essentially butt dialing with it, for lack of a more eloquent phrase, is occasionally, because of that screen, it tends to open up or whatever, and he would call someone. So, I'm not sure how that would work. Maybe if you have a locked, like some sort of a password lock or whatever, that wouldn't be an issue, but.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just like looking
beautiful.
at the screenshots and in awe of like how cool Android looks on e-ink, I guess. Let me see if I can. I'll show you guys a couple of these. I don't know. Trying to do this on 2 different computers, so like the all-in-one that's now recording Cool Edit also and running the Hangout doesn't have to pull up stories. It's like a little Chromebook here. All right, check this out. All right, so these pictures, right? Well, there's a pretty good one.
There we go.
Decent camera. They were kind of comparing it to a Moto X. The new one, not the first gen.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 gigs of RAM, 32 gig storage, nice and thin. Kind of looks like a Moto X almost. I don't know, maybe that's just because it's what I'm using, but it looks. And then here's what I wanted to show you. Boom.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool looking. That looks nice. It doesn't look like I thought it would look when you're on, like, the 1st or 2nd gen Kindles and everything renders all crappy and slow. Like this, hopefully, it'll look good as it's being, used.
Yeah.
But the screenshots look good.
Hey, Matt, scroll up, and, like, right above the specs, there's a couple of pictures. I'm sorry, scroll down. Up. There it was. Right above the specs, there's a few pictures, and one of them shows where right there, the left picture, it shows where the SIM card slot is. The SIM card slot is located behind the volume rocker.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
You actually pull the volume rocker up, and like I've just never seen that design before. And
How long do you think that's gonna last before it just like breaks?
Well, they have that for, like, Motorola has that with the Droid Turbo. The Droid Turbo, the one that just came out, has the same feature where you remove the volume control buttons, and behind it is the SIM card, or actually, yeah, the SIM card. So. But yeah, that is rare, and it is pretty interesting because it actually eliminates a number of things that you have, on the side to deal with. So.
Nice resolution for the 5-inch HD on the front.
Yeah.
1920 by 1080. Like, that's pretty much what my widescreen is.
Yeah, I think the original AotA phone was also comparable in specs to the original Moto X. So this has kind of had a similar upgrade, but this is the old Moto X, had the extra processors, whereas, the AotA phone didn't. So this is more modern.
This will not be updated well because of any special. I mean, I guess the AotA Energy stuff could all be packaged as a separate APK.
Well, if you're in the U.S., you're likely not going to get it on a carrier, so you may end up buying it, cash. Sony had a few phones where they sold.
$700.
Yeah, but if you're into this kind of device, you're more than likely going to pay out of pocket, or maybe if they have a retail site, you can buy it direct from, or maybe a finance, through that, maybe something.
No, I have a feeling that this thing's probably going. It'll probably get to Lollipop and stay. You know, if you just have to be on the latest version of Android, this is probably not the phone for you. It's so yeah. I mean, I think your concerns are probably well founded.
But if you got to get that ink display, no other phone has it. So.
Yeah. Well, I just honestly get a Kindle. if you really like, I don't know the specific benefit of this outside of like, oh, that's cool. I don't know that you're really going to save too much battery.
Yeah, those little paper whites are like $100, a little bit more than that. So, yeah, a lot cheaper than the phone.
Nice. Let's see. Ooh, this is kind of interesting. Android apps are catching up finally. All of us broke Android users are like getting caught up to where iOS is as far as profits for app developers and stuff. That's kind of cool. That's always been, and I remember speaking of Instagram earlier that like when that first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, cool! Here come pictures of the ghetto and top ramen," and yeah, there was, because that's sometimes how we roll. But it's gotten better.
Well, yeah. Well, a couple of things here that I thought was interesting. You know, there was a big jump in the average revenue per user of Android. You know, granted, it's not on parity according to this research company with iOS, but you know, in less than a year, it jumped from like 20% of iOS to 65% of iOS. And one other thing that I don't think I've heard anybody talk about this before, but this marketing company said that media costs, like media advertising costs for Android, are like 20 to 50% lower on Android devices. So when they take that into account, there are already some Android games that are just as profitable or more profitable than the iOS versions.
And I may be wrong, but I think Google also takes less of a cut, I think, than Apple. I can't remember, but I think there was something wrong with that. That'd be something to Google, I presume. But yeah, it's kind of encouraging. And I think more of us, like myself, I'm willing to impulse buy. Like the other day, Droid Life was like, hey, here's an interesting new camera app. Look at all its features. And before I even read the rest of the article, I was already clicking on the link to buy it and just picked it up for $3. So I think a lot more of us are out there willing to pick up something if a reputable site says, hey, we've used it, it's good, or something like that. So, you know, maybe if that can continue more, you know, so.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see if I can find what the percentage that they take. So with Google, they take 30%. And let's see here. This one's pulling up. Yeah, I'm having a hard time finding the iOS version. So I don't know if anybody out there, maybe in the chat room, if you guys know what the cut is for Apple. But in any case, I think it's nice that at least we're seeing the data out there. I don't think that most people, you know, in mainstream are going to pay attention to it, just because there's so much of the, you know, it takes a long time to get past, you know, a lot of these narratives that are out there, like, you know, the Android ghetto with our ramen noodles. But you know,
yeah, what was it? What did
I hope that they're paying attention.
Yeah, what did they say? Toxic health stew. What's his name from Apple?
Yeah.
So yeah,
let's bring that up again.
The toxic hell stew. So good.
I mean,
I don't
also,
know why this isn't working. I hate
What's
this.
wrong, Matt?
I don't know.
the lights went out.
I don't know. Like you screen share and then you go back. Maybe you could tell me, Google, what's wrong? Why is it when I screen share and then go back to presenting myself, me personally, like there's nothing there? Aunt Pruitt in the chat says Apple gets 30% on apps.
Thank
So,
you, Aunt Pruitt.
Thank you.
Okay, so they're the same.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're the same.
I know Google.
I think.
Well, I was going to say Google's. You know, they're going to be making less money over time through search, so they're trying to find other ways to be profitable. You know, to make money. So, you know, they got to try something.
And I will point out too, with Apple, you're paying $99 a year in order to be in the App Store. With Google Play, it's only a one-time $25 fee. So maybe for those budding, developers, um, Google Play definitely has an easier, I think, entry point.
It was, I will say, just from a music standpoint, it was much easier to get my music in Google Play than it was in iTunes.
That's interesting. What is that
And
process
way better,
like?
Way better stuff to track, analytics, obviously, and everything like that. You have to pay stuff for that for Apple, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not finding it because I don't use it very much, but it seems like you get a lot more of that cool stuff using Play. And yeah, I don't know. Why is there no bandwidth? It's probably because there's a giant snowstorm on the East Coast, and for some reason, no, I don't know. I have no idea why.
Yeah, East Coasters, it's your fault.
Let's talk about Project AotA. Can you talk about Project AotA? I want to see if I can jump off of this and maybe hop back in. I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Drop the whole thing. I mean,
it might.
It might. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I've never
we'll
done
talk
this
AotA.
before. This is uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done this before. Come on.
Trailblazing. This is like Interstellar.
Right?
Podcast.
Trailblaze for sure. All right. Okay. Project AotA.
Let's give that a shot. This story is Project AotA related. This company called AotA, who is they're like a hip, trendy, stylish design company. They've put out what their sort of ideas are as to what these Project AotA modules can look like. So if you go to the website in the show notes, and I just pasted it into the chat for our live listeners, you can see some of these really I'll go as far as to say weird modules that they've come up with. Weird looking. You have things like an air quality tester, CO2 tester, a flashlight, an EKG, a glucometer, a breathalyzer, which could be very handy. I kind of like the breathalyzer idea. But it's just all these different things that they say, these are things that could be made for AotA, and here's how we would design them. What do you think, Nick? Do you like the way that this phone is looking with all these AotA modules hooked onto it?
Nick, you're muted.
I think you're muted, buddy.
Oh.
There we go. It reminds me of something that would come out of Back to the Future 2, that future. It just, everything has that look. It's very, it's not just that what they're trying to accomplish is interesting. It's the look of everything they're trying to plug into this AotA developer phone is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm not digging it. I don't like the design, I must say. Speaking of Back to the Future 2, this looks like something that Biff would have strapped to his, his shoulder pads.
Arms or something, yeah.
Yeah. I threw it in there just because I thought it looked so ridiculous. I'm not a big fan of the design, though. I like where their heads are at, with the features. If you had diabetes, having the glucometer, breathalyzer, because we've all been there, where it's sort of a guessing game. So I like the idea. I like where they're going with it.
Yeah, one of the things I like that I've heard about recently with regard to AotA is that you could even have 2 battery modules on it, for example, 2 different battery modules, not conflicting, both supplying power. So it's amazing what doors this kind of product can open from companies like AotA or anyone else. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it looks crazy. I may not personally buy anything other than that, other than maybe the breathalyzer, but it looks pretty cool. It's definitely a unique use of the technology.
Yeah, I don't even know how this would be comfortable in your pocket. Like that just does not look good.
And the
So
light
I don't.
one, I have no idea what's wrong with this camera, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. I don't want to like disconnect it and then
It's okay.
it's
That's cool.
all right. All right. I
Yeah.
like the light sensor stuff. It like
Yeah.
if you're inside and then it knows you're going outside, it's like, whoa, hold up. It is like 10 billion lumens out there. You better get your shades on. Like that's cool. That's cool. Good to know information.
It's a safety feature, really.
Right?
So if you're listening to the show, why not? Why don't you tweet us your idea for an ARA module? Why not? If you, I think this is a great start.
Does it matter at this point what it looks like? MB in the chat says, I think you're being too nice. It's terrible looking. Like, because of what all it can do, like, do we let it slide on the way it looks?
You just
Or
don't buy all the different attachments.
we have to hold it to a higher standard. Because this is 2015, and it's definitely not a jetpack, so...
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, this isn't even a Generation 1 product. This is a Generation 2 development product. Like, this is the second iteration of, hey, look, this is a nice concept.
But
So
there's something ants like don't go with this because consumers are going to find a way to screw this up. They have something called Soul. You know what it is? You can't even talk about it yet.
Oh, that's where that is.
But it's called Soul. So
I'm looking for that.
take a wild guess.
Shoes?
There's also one. Oh,
Yeah, it's the aura that you puts in your shoe.
clever. Very clever. Yeah,
It's
you can
remarkable.
pretty much make your phone look completely stupid with all of these. But at that point, like, is it your phone or is it like a rectangle brick full of sensors that you set and let it monitor? Like you throw it out the Mars thing and it can tell you how your air is and if you should go out there or not because of the radiation.
It's
Like it
probably
seems like something that, not something we're going to be using here, but
It seems like something Batman would use, or maybe Inspector Gadget. I don't know.
I don't think necessarily that consumers are gonna like find a way to screw this up. I'm a little bit more, bullish on Project Aura than Ant is.
yeah,
Or
we've been wanting this to
How
be
are lawyers
great.
gonna screw it up? And
Because
how are lawyers gonna screw it up?
Check this out. How? Open source. Somebody's gonna make a taser module. Somebody's gonna get tased, and that's gonna be the end of it. Just
We're gonna
saying.
see.
Why aren't
We're
people
gonna
just
see
buying
someone-
tasers then and tasing
Because
each other?
this is a module for your Project Aura phone. That's cool. It's a taser.
Yeah.
We're going to see this used in the adult film industry somehow. Just mark my words.
Yeah. Get my HTC Re module. Put it on my Aura.
That would be so
Oh.
great.
Interesting.
You could get do you remember the wobble pens that would they'd have the weight in there and they would wobble so when you wrote it was all like curly and I don't know. You could get like one of those modules, turn it into a giant vibrator. Just saying. I know that's what you were insinuating, so I just
No.
just take it there.
Personal
then-
massage.
and then- And then, watch the segue, you could use that hooked up to your new digital diet app, Quality Time. I just want to tell you, I've been messing around with this a little bit. Getting some, I can't even show you because this stupid camera.
My digital diet.
Getting some interesting stats here. Let's crack it open. And I was at the mountain today, so I didn't I had my phone, but I wasn't really, I took some pictures and stuff. In the 2 hours and 57 minutes that I used the phone, I unlocked it 95 times, which is awesome. Mostly used Gmail, Chrome, Flashlight, Text Secure, Facebook, that sort of thing. And then, it gets into more, at 9:41, I used Facebook Messenger for 56 seconds. At 9:42, I went from Facebook Messenger right into Gmail for 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Like it just, and the more you use it, the more useful it will give you stats. Like I've only been using it for 2 days now, but I'm gonna keep it running. It hasn't slowed my phone down or anything, and I want to, and for breaking Android as well, I want to see after a month, like what am I staring at mostly? Like what's the haps?
Yeah, I
So
think I might pick that up as well. I know you mentioned
it's
earlier in
neat.
the
It
week.
is. I thought it was dumb at first. I was like, it's gonna lag the crap out of your phone. But no, like it's really well done. So I would definitely, and I'm curious, how do you guys listen or watch your phone? You know, what are you doing on your phone? I think it's cool.
And it's
AotA?
securely backed up to the cloud.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look at any of that stuff because I don't really care, but would be interesting to take a look at and see how secure.
This sounds like malware. Like, I know it's probably not, but
It tracks all your activities and sends it off to the interwebs.
It sends it off to our cloud in Davos. Whoa,
Davos.
yeah. Thank you, Nick.
It's like they took it
because I can't.
Yeah, it's true. Are you sure you don't want to disconnect? Are you okay?
You know
seem
what?
very
Hold on.
disturbed.
Just let's. Okay.
It's kind of weird. Whenever I select the icon, I see black, but when you talk, the icon down below shows whatever your screen is.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
Hangouts
It won't
is
let
ghetto.
me. It won't let me disconnect, you guys. So
That's
I'm just gonna deal with it. It's fine. No, it's totally fine.
Good.
Let's keep talking about apps real quick. Another interesting one. That the new Facebook app coming out with a light version for those of us in third world countries or with data caps, perhaps.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I like the idea of having that. I mean, it'd be nice if they released it to everywhere else, but I suspect ads are probably going to be pretty
Yeah.
reduced in those markets, and that's probably why.
That's true, right? Like, how about you just make your app better and slim it down instead of being like it's gotten to the point where they had to offer a whole nother version of their app for lower end phones because their app has gotten so just out of control.
But at least the messenger is included and not an additional app. That seems to be a source of perturbation for a lot of people. They don't like having all these different apps for all these different, Facebook products. But it seems like a pretty cool product. If you're in a region, unfortunately, that has to resort to that to get Facebook, at least you now have a more legit option. And I think from the article it said that like the app itself is like 1/100th the size of the Facebook app.
And it's only in certain countries. Like you can Bangladesh, Nepal, Nigeria, South Africa, Sudan, Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe with certain Android devices. Let's see if it'll even let me. It probably won't even let me in. Install. Nope, you don't have any devices. I sure do, Facebook. Just not the one.
Well, you could always try VPN.
Yeah.
If those places have it.
Let me VPN through Zimbabwe real quick.
Yep. Fire up my DACA VPN.
The cool thing is Eric probably has one of those.
No,
In
I'm not. It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad, but it's not that good. It's not that bad. Not that bad. All right. Let's see. The new Nexus coming with fingerprint sensor stuff, or the old one would have, but Apple kind of said, "Nah, you can't do that. That's our thing. You can't authenticate with your fingers because we invented that, right? Google invented or Apple invented that. Nobody ever authenticated with a finger. I got an HP laptop here that lets you do that. They didn't shut that down. So, what's up, Apple?
I think it was more a matter of supply. Go for it, Eric.
Well, it's the company. So like the Motorola, was it the Atrix 2? I think
Atrix 1, the first Atrix.
Atrix 1. Okay, so it had fingerprint technology from the same company that Apple uses. It's just that Apple decided to buy them. So I guess who knows like what the reason was, if it was just no, we're just not going to sell to you, or no, we don't have the stock for to make iPhone and U, but Motorola wanted to make that little dimple on the back, the little Motorola thing. They wanted to make it a fingerprint reader using that same like technology that's on the iPhones.
Yeah, some of the first rumors for this Moto X and for I don't know if for the Nexus 6, but some of the first rumors for the Moto X were, hey, that might be a fingerprint sensor. That's kind of interesting that really that could have been the case for the Nexus 6. So.
And I think it would have been nice, like the placement of that dimple. Like Matt, didn't you have that on yours, right? Like wasn't it on the first gens too?
Yeah, it doesn't do anything on mine, but I think it's like a button on the other one, isn't it?
No, it's just an emblem that's kind of recessed, and then it's got a plate in front of it, so it's actually a separate. It actually jiggles a little bit, like you can press it, and it makes noise in some devices.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. The whole like authentication that way just is like it's all right if it works well, but otherwise I'm just gonna swipe and put in my thing and not even worry about it.
I've used it on the iPhone and it works very well.
Like, does it work to where you're actually using it all the time, or did you use it a couple times and then disable it because it was crap?
It's disabled automatically on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because of no, not because it's crap. Because the software that we use to like get email and stuff. There's like security features and you have to turn stuff off.
Same thing here. So yeah, I don't have an iPhone, but I have the same deal. I can't do like face unlock or just no password at all due to the rules.
Yeah,
so.
But I tried it when I was setting it up, like before I got all the apps installed, and I'm telling you, like you go through like the enrollment process, and it has you, put your finger or whatever else you want on the sensor a few different ways, and it sort of has like the outline of like a fingerprint, and it lights up, and it sort of shows, sort of like when you're doing a like when you're doing one of those 360 pictures with Android, how it sort of guides you to where you're missing data. It does the same thing with the fingerprint. I mean it's just easy. Finger on there for like a second and bam, done.
Yeah, and the thing about the placement of the fingerprint sensor is your finger's going to be there anyways, and if 9 out of 10 times it works, you just put your finger there, then within a second it unlocks, and if it doesn't, then you would pattern unlock. So think of it as, well, normally I would put in a pin or pattern or whatever to unlock this, but 9 out of 10 times I don't have to, only one or whatever. So, and apparently it's gotten better, particularly with the newer iPhone, the fingerprint sensor, but that's for most people that don't have security, a security system in place preventing them from using it. So, but it would have been nice to see that on the Nexus 6 or the Moto X, but Motorola was the first company that did that on a smartphone, and other companies have done that on laptops, like the laptop I'm using here has a fingerprint sensor. Various others that I know have that. So it's not a new technology, but I'm pretty sure Apple still invented it somehow.
MB says they use it every day on the iPhone 6, and it is excellent. Works very well, very consistently.
Yeah, I think what most people are worried about is is using it at that location. It's a premier location. Like Apple didn't invent the touchscreen or curved edges or a smartphone without a keyboard, but they'll sue anyone that tries to make a phone that's similar enough to their devices. So if anyone wants to make a fingerprint scanner like Samsung on the front in that location, they would be fearful of doing so for being sued by Apple. So that's kind of sad, in my opinion.
Hey, I just thought, what if we all put Facebook Lite on our wish list? Like, do you think then we'll? All right.
Well, we'd be notified when it does become available.
That's true. We should talk about this. This kind of interesting CyanogenMod, kind of just being like, you know what? I think we're just gonna not worry about Google and take over Android, maybe. Kirk McMaster, CEO of Cyanogen Inc., He's been in the news lately. Android Authority reporting force expressing some controversial opinions on things like Google's tyrannical control over Android or Samsung's complete inability to build a decent mobile operating system. Gosh, Samsung, it's not that hard. I mean, come on. He says the opinions expressed on Thursday at the Information's Next Phase of Android event in San Francisco are his most pretentious yet. No, contentious. Sorry, got that wrong. His most contentious. Sorry. Not only has McMaster clarified his views on Google's control over Android, but he laid out Cyanogen's vision for a future devoid of any Google reliance. And he says he just like introduces himself. Hey, I'm the CEO of Cyanogen. We're attempting to take Android away from Google. Boom. Drops the mic. What's up?
Yeah, that's not exactly, I don't know. I don't think Google's going to take well to that. So, I mean, there's AOSP, which everyone can just use, and if you don't want to pay the Google license fee, to have all the Google apps, you don't necessarily have to do that. But I don't think they can take that away from Google. I don't know. I think they're barking up the wrong tree here.
Well, I think that this is not unheard of. This is what Amazon did. They took AOSP, they modified it to their own ends, and they don't use the Google App Set.
But Eric, did Amazon come out on stage and be like, "Hey Google, middle finger"? Sorry, my phone keeps like, I'm not talking to you, phone. It says like, and then they just like. They didn't come out and just put it in their face, right? They were like, "Oh, we're making this thing."
Or Nokia, and Nokia is now owned by Microsoft, and when they made their Nokia X and X Plus, Microsoft didn't necessarily treat Google that way either. So, and they're Microsoft, so it is kind of weird for Cyanogen Mod, who started out as essentially an Apple modding company, now basically giving the middle finger to Android and Google. I don't know. This is kind of weird. That's just my personal opinion on it.
I think that it's a little dangerous for them in one sense, which is, when you get Cyanogen Mod, if you want the Google App Set, like there's a page on the Cyanogen Mod website that has links to GApps for all different versions. If Google really wanted to, they could start sending lawyers after them and saying take this crap down, and then Cyanogen Mod loses a lot of its usability, or at least the ease of finding it, at least, just because they're talking shit in some interview. I don't think the Samsung, them talking about Samsung, I think that's a pretty safe bet. Like you're taking a swing at somebody who would never use your operating system anyway. Like Samsung's all in on
doing it their way.
Yeah, and Tizen, they have Tizen too. So it's like I can see no future where they're making some deal with Cyanogen. So
yeah, I mean we see where companies like Samsung, they're trying to distance themselves, from Google with their own OS. From the ground up. They're not using AOSP as a core of Tizen. They're basically making their own Linux variant, for their operating system, and in and of itself, they're making all their TVs, all the smart TVs from now on are going to have Tizen exclusively. I think there's another company that's doing that. So I can see where other companies are kind of, there's like a line in the sand between them and Google, and they're trying to distance themselves. But it seems kind of weird for Cyanogen to do that when that's how they started out, making mods, modding the OS.
I don't know though. If you think about it, like without, I don't know. I don't use it anymore. Like a lot of us don't use it anymore now that phones have gotten to the point where you don't need to root and ROM. And we talked about this before. Like maybe this is their way of, like Eric said, doing an Amazon and being like, all right, it's really time to like make our stuff separate because. I bet they did notice like a pretty decent cut in the amount of usage they were getting when like the Moto X and the new HTCs and maybe not Samsung. You still rooting around.
I just think they're pissing in the cereal of someone that feeds them. It's like, they're more than just biting the hand that feeds them. They're trying to, not be in their good graces. I don't know.
Well, they're also, this this is all marketing. They're marketing themselves.
It's
and
a
there's
company,
other
right? Cyanogen Inc. This isn't Cyanogen Mod. This is Cyanogen Inc. This is the company.
And I think that if you look at where they're getting deals, like India, and maybe these are places where these companies don't, they don't care about the Google suite of apps necessarily. They just, and they don't want to deal with Google. They don't want to give money to Google for something that they don't feel they need. So I can totally see where Cyanogen could say, well, let's make a big deal about how we are the antithesis of Google, and try to drum up some more business. There is a little bit of what you're saying, Nick, that they still rely on Google, on Google just being nice to them and not trying to screw them over. But at the same time, we're probably reaching this point where these things are just naturally going to break apart. Where Cyanogen's going to go their way, Amazon's going their way. Just because Google has, in recent years, taken a very heavy-handed approach to Android to make it better.
It had to. It didn't have to. It doesn't have to continue. It can ease back, but it completely had to, which I think is kind of why things shaped up the way they did, which is why we don't really need custom ROMs and such anymore as much.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, I like in the article, it says, we've barely scratched the surface in regards to what mobile can be. Today, Cyanogen has some dependence on Google. Tomorrow, it will not. We will not be based on some derivative of Google in 3 to 5 years. There will be services that are doing the same old bulls with Android, and then there will be something different. That's what we're doing. That's what we're going here. So... let's see. Before we wrap things up, did you guys see the iRig? This is kind of cool. It's like a giant amp tube thing. USB aux. You could probably podcast with this thing. Universal near zero latency guitar processing via its Amplitude app. High performance 32-bit DSP, digital sound processor, 24-bit AD converter, 44.1, 48 kilohertz sample rate. That's pretty sweet. That's kind of like sound card, like a nice sound card quality. In your,
I was going to say, is it also a microphone? Go for it.
Oh, ladies, at the same time, shall we dance?
Talking over one another. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't mind one of these to go with my tablet to have it like a mobile podcasting rig.
That's what I was wondering. I wonder if this would work well enough to podcast. You definitely don't have the storage on your little tablet to record an hour of 44.1, audio, but...
Oh, don't I?
Oh, do you?
Right now I have a 64 gigabyte SD card in here, and
ooh, fancy.
There's like some of the newer tablets, like that Dell Venue 8, can get up to 512 gigabytes micro SD card support. So there is going to be room on some of these devices.
That is a cool little mic. I kind of like it. Let's see if we can. Maybe we can show this, perhaps.
Yeah, you can screen share. You just can't show yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I don't need to see me.
Okay, so get a camera app.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
And then just display yourself through that.
And then I'll screen share it. Exactly. So yeah, like you see there on the screen, if you're listening or watching live here, it's just like a little pass-through, and it hooks up and it does all its little processing.
Yeah, go down a little bit lower. There's a microphone. That's
look at the mic. It's pretty
awesome.
much like what Eric's using.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool.
$179 though. That is a little steep.
How much did that one cost for you, Eric? That mic that you're using?
I think like $340.
Okay.
So, and this is probably much better quality than that.
You
think?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I look at this and it looks cool, but I don't know.
How much? Like 200? 100.
179.
No, this is 200. The $100 one is what you would use like for an amp, the thing you would hook your guitar to.
Okay.
Gotcha. And how much is just the box?
That box is that.
Oh, 179.
The
Okay.
box is $99. And the iRig mic is $180.
Yeah,
Now, what
that's
is
like
not
80 more
clear.
than this Audio Technica I'm using. But like way cheaper than the nice mic that we have for like recording music stuff. So it is right in between the two. So
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll pick one up at some point soon and give it a shot.
yeah.
Or
Hey,
if iRig
don't
wants to
panhandle, Eric. There's no need to panhandle. These companies will gladly send a large syndicated show such as ours. That's right, hands up, and then maybe we'll send it back. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe it goes to the pawn shop.
if we have time, maybe we'll
I know.
use it and do it. I mean, we're busy. But
We're
if you
very
want to,
busy.
go ahead. It's fine.
Nick, was this your Dell Venue 8 unboxing or no?
No, I
Okay.
wish. It looks like a pretty sweet tablet.
Nick, will you do an unboxing of this unboxing?
Well, yeah, it looks like there's a new tablet out in town. It was announced in CES, the Dell
It's made
Venue
by
8.
Dell.
Yeah, of all
Forget to
people.
tell them that. Tell them that it's made by Dell.
Dell's Dell tablet. Yeah, so it's an 8-inch tablet, which is mostly bezel-less on the top and sides. Got kind of a large bezel on the bottom, but that's because it has like the camera equipment, speaker, etc. But it's a pretty decent tablet, and we're seeing it out on some sites already, some articles and such. It looks like who are these people? I can't see from here. Oh, Droid Life, yeah. So they picked it up, and they've got an unboxing for it. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a really it's a relatively high spec tablet.
It's neat. It's got a weird, like, it's made if you're left-handed, I guess. You hold it and then tap on it with your right, or if you're...
Or you can tilt it over, and use it in your right hand.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's similar to the Sharp Oculus Crystal phone, but it's a tablet, that most of its bezels on one of 4 sides. But it's got like a quad HD display, quad HD display, and I think this one has an Intel processor on it.
About as big around as a Bic. That's cool.
Look at that camera. There's 3 cameras on the back.
What?
Like they say it's a combined resolution of 8 megapixels.
What?
That's just odd.
Well, I think it's for like depth or something. I can't remember. I read about it the other day. I think it's not just a camera.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, baby. It's for depth. 3 cameras. Don't be freaked out.
Get away from me with that thing. With that monster.
And the way you hold it, because these cameras are sort of they're placed in that spot where you would, I think, like the natural handle, like that bezel.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, a little bit of weird placement to me.
Yeah,
but
that make
the
you
device
uncomfortable?
itself looks nice.
That make you a little uncomfortable? Just odd.
Yeah, Sharp has
it's
the same thing with their smartphone.
But
cool.
Very thin. And I mean those specs. It's running an Intel quad-core processor, which is interesting. I like that it has a micro SD slot in there. I'm sure some people out there will vehemently disagree with me on that.
Up to 512 gigs. That's a big micro SD. Is that still? Do they even make those?
They do. I think they're really expensive though. It's going to be well over $100 if I remember right.
64 is the biggest one I can afford, but then again, I'm posting ramen pictures on Instagram, so hashtag we out, Chio.
64 gigabytes though is the price right now.
Is that sufficient?
That's sort of where it drops off. So
Yeah.
like you can get a 64 gigabyte. I got one for my Shield tablet I think for like $12 or something when it was on sale. But if you want to go up to 128, it's like 60.
Damn.
I know, that crazy.
Damn. Why don't you just get 2 64 gig ones? How much would that be then?
Well, I don't have 2 micro SD slots, so that would be just stupid.
But you'd swap them out. They're hot swappable, aren't they?
No.
What is this?
I don't think
I'm
so.
pretty sure they are. It depends what you're running on it. How many force closes will you get if like things are trying to access it and corrupted data? Yeah. Bring on that corrupted data. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so they started releasing these tablets, like the 7 was announced, I think, in November, and it came out, I think, shortly after that. And this was announced a little bit ago, but I think, in CES was when they released it, or around the time that CES came out. So, it's nice to see Dell trying new things. Dell hasn't had a tablet in a while, and then recently they started making some. They had the Dell Streak or something, 7 and 8 inch tablet a long time ago. HP ran out of, you know, good tablets a while back as well. Now they're making tablets. So it's pretty cool. We have more competitors in the tablet space, although tablets, sales overall have kind of peaked a bit. So, but at least there's more out there, and it should bode well for competition. So.
I'm looking like really hard for a 512 gigabyte card, and
Amazon,
I cannot. No, all they have are 512 megabyte cards.
No, you're using it wrong.
No, they're
Capital G, capital B. Come on.
Here we go. So this isn't even a.
Ooh, screen share.
I think this is just an SD card. $600.
What? GTFRO.
I ain't doing that.
ROOH. I mean, for reals.
List price of $800, and
I
their
found
price.
a terabyte micro SD card for 18 billion gazillion majillion dollars. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening. Find us on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. Eric.
Yes, Matt.
Where else are we?
We are on email. You can email us.
What's our email?
backoftheandroids.com.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good email. Yeah. You should all email it and say hi. Write us reviews on iTunes, because that'd be cool. Check out Breaking Android. Check out Nick Carroll's stuff. Where's your stuff, Nick?
On YouTube. Look for Nick Carroll and unboxing, and you'll see.
Nick's got links on techtheandroids.com, huh? Yep. Yeah, so does Eric, huh?
They're all over.
Yeah, and look at my Instagram. #WeOutChia. Yeah. I'm gonna go back up to the mountain and snowboard again tomorrow if I can walk. I got my car back. Got hood, lights. Oh, I'm very excited. Very excited. So, look for those hashtags. And hey, make some of your own. Maybe I'll see them when I'm checking how much terrain I've covered on the Whitefish Ski #SkiWhitefish app. All right, thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. Peace. See you later.